Indeed, the chip supply is a critical business and economy in Taiwan. But had it been a war in Taiwan, probably the chip is not the most important thing we should worry about. Because this invasion, if come after is the destruction of the world rule-based order, the geopolitical landscape would totally change. Nobody can control TSMC by force. If you take a military force or invasion, you will render TSMC factory non-operable. Because this is such sophisticated manufacturing facilities. It depends on the real-time connection with outside world, with Europe, with Japan, with the US. If you take it over by force, you can no longer make it operable.
What would happen to Taiwan and to the Taiwanese economy if China were to invade?
Oh, of course, the war brings no winners. Everybody's losers, and people in Taiwan has earned their democratic system in Taiwan, and they want to choose their way of life. And we think that indeed the chip supply is a critical business and economy in Taiwan. But had it been a war in Taiwan, probably the chip is not the most important thing we should worry about. Because this invasion, if come after is the destruction of the world rule-based order, there's no the geopolitical landscape would totally change.
Do you worry that Taiwan is now so integral to the Chinese supply chain at the high end does that create a danger for Taiwan, or is it a deterrent? People sometimes talk about the TSMC shield, but you could equally see Beijing saying we need to have total control of this. This is the most valuable asset, and it's outside our borders.
Okay, nobody can control TSMC by force. If you take a military force or invasion, you will render TSMC factory non-operable. Because this is such sophisticated manufacturing facilities. It depends on the real-time connection with outside world, with Europe, with Japan, with the US, from materials to chemicals to spare parts to engineering software diagnosis, and it's everybody's effort to make this factory operable. So if you take it over by force, you can no longer make it operable. In terms of the China business, today it composes about 10% of our business. We only work with consumer. We don't work with militaries entity. We only work at consumer market. We think that is a consumer pools is important, and it is vibrant. And if they need us, it's not a bad thing.
Expand on that. Why is it not a bad thing?
Oh, because our interruption will create great economic turmoil in either side in China, because suddenly their most advanced components supply disappeared, and it is an interruption, I must say. So people will think twice on this. I think the Ukraine war, I think we should draw lessons from it. People think Ukraine war connected with Taiwan Strait. They are very different. But in case you think about in parallel, Ukraine war is not good for any of the sides, from the Western world, from Russia, for Ukraine. It's lose scenarios. All three sides ought to draw lessons. I think they do. And we should use that lessons to look at the lens on Taiwan. How can we avoid a war? How can we ensure the world economy's engine of the world economy continue humming? And let's have a fair competition on top of the platform. That's what I think.
From your perspective, what explains the Taiwan Miracle? This is now a place that has grown at 5% a year for 5 decades. There are very few places in the world that have managed that. What explains the Taiwan Miracle?
From looking from outside, it appears to be a miracle. For the people working hard on the island, it is just a history of fighting. I think, to be honest, compared with other nations, particularly in Asia, I think one of the key components in Taiwan is a peaceful society. It maintained peace since 1949 to today, 70 years. It's a peaceful island. And during the period of time, the Taiwan has transformed from authoritarian state into a democratic state, a democratic society, peacefully. This is a marvelous, because if you look at the nations around the world, having such a smooth transition, peaceful transition, that is, we are fortunate, to be honest. But if you talk about miracles, I also think there's one thing that is very distinctly different is the education system. When I was young, only 10% of the young people enter college or universities. Today, 80% of the young people have college or university degrees. The government set up many colleges, universities, and every kid, if you want to go to university, you can go, and just as long as you spend time. So that is created a relatively good quality of population in Taiwan, posing for any change ahead. That's what I think is a very, very special.
Why is it so difficult for anyone to make the chips that you make? And I'm thinking now about the 7 nanometer, you know, the Americans have these great companies that have huge history, like Intel. The Chinese pour tens of billions of dollars into new companies, but no one can make the chips you make. Why?
Well, they can. Just a few years later, it's.
But that's all the difference in this business.
You're right. That's all the difference. I think we treat the semiconductor technology itself as a business, as a science. It's not a assembly workers. And of course, I credit this to be working with our partners. Even the COVID time, you know, our engineer used AR, augmented reality lenses. They work with the engineer in Netherlands, work with the engineer in California, and that's how close we work together. And together we push the frontier of the semiconductor technologies. I cannot tell you everything why, but that's the other people issue.
You're not going to tell me the secret formula for Coca-Cola. Finally, tell me what you think Taiwan will look like in the future, technologically, economically. What are your hopes?
I hope that we don't get discriminated because we are close to China. No matter your relationship with China, Taiwan is Taiwan. You have to look at Taiwan as by itself, a vibrant society. We want to unleash the innovation for the world into the future continuously, and not to be scared because we have some dispute with our neighbors, and that is not worth it.
But it seems to me you're saying to the world, correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying to the world, don't be scared by what China is saying, because the Chinese will never be able to take over the Taiwanese economy. The Taiwanese economy is built on this global collaboration, on trust, on openness, they'll find they've taken over nothing if they come in.
Correct. Yes, I do believe so. So the war can only create problems on all three sides. And that is, we need to prepare the worst, but we should hope for the best.
Yeah, so you said about the Ukraine war, it's lose, lose, lose. Your hope is for a win, win, win.
At least not lose. Yes, if you have a war, then it will be that. If it's peaceful, well, it's upon the competition strategies on all three sides. And I think that is nobody in the business world want to see a war happen. And why do we jump again into another trap?
经常这晚上啦睡不着觉啦，您很想要睡的时候身心放松啦，就会很需要这一瓶茶氨酸来调节情绪，同时还可以增强您的抗压能力。现在下定的话，记得打上我的这个折扣码 CTI717，若鱼帮你来打折。